Welcome back to the Pro Sports Podcasters on YouTube. My name is Clipper Duran. Most of you know me as Kobe from the podcast. And today I'm taking a look at 6 specific running back moments on the NFL all-day marketplace. And these are my top 6 running back comments. The reason is simple, okay? Each one of these players only has the one moment minted on the NFL all-day platform. So this is it. If you want this particular player in your collection, you're going to have to buy this specific moment for each player. And a number of these are significantly undervalued, but all of them should see a bump in this next NFL season, because I expect all of these players to factor into something, whether it be the OTM Rumble, fantasy football variant that they've come up with, or just some kind of a offensive challenge that's required during this next season. I think all of these actual players have a chance to be involved in one. So you should see their values jump at some point during the season. A couple of which I expect to see jump very early. Now, what spurred on this video is 2 things. One, I mentioned Miles Sanders in my last video. If you haven't seen that yet, definitely check it out. And since mentioning him yesterday at the release of the video, he's gone from $8 to $10 on the marketplace because people realized, shit, Cobe's right. He nailed that one. That's pretty damn obvious. So I should probably go ahead and get some. So his floor is increasing. And the other thing that triggered it was the reward packs included the first minting, finally, of Christian McCaffrey, who, if you've listened to me talk before about fantasy football, Christian McCaffrey is, in my opinion, the top fantasy football player, period, since like LaDainian Tomlinson. That's how good Christian McCaffrey is. The only thing that's held Christian McCaffrey back is injuries, and some of which were freak injuries. So we have an opportunity to potentially see Christian McCaffrey in a full NFL season this year. And even if he only plays half the season, that half of the season, you're definitely going to want his moment if you play OTM Rumble. 100% is going to have to be in your collection because Christian McCaffrey is ridiculous with what he can do on the football field. I actually see him as the single most impactful player in NFL football when he's healthy. That's how great Christian McCaffrey is. But before we get to that, let's just start with the list. Like I said, I've got 6 players. I'm going to go from the lowest value player in the marketplace to the highest value player in the marketplace. And it begins with Josh Jacobs. Now, we got a taste of Josh Jacobs last night at the Hall of Fame game, and he looked phenomenal. He looked excellent. Now, granted, he's against some second-string players, but there was quite a few first-string players on the defensive side for Jacksonville. And Jacobs just looked amazing. And Josh Jacobs gets overlooked a lot. Okay? A lot. Because even though he's a featured back, and he now shares a backfield with like Kenyon Drake and Amir Abdullah and such, but honestly, it's Josh Jacobs' backfield. Let's be honest. When it comes right down to it and they need someone to trust, it's going to be Josh Jacobs. And if you look at his statistical numbers since he's entered the NFL, the guy's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. It's just the Raiders have been substandard, right? The Raiders haven't been that exciting. That could be different this year. Look, I'm not a Las Vegas Raiders fan. I'm a Denver Broncos fan. So if anything, I'm a Las Vegas Raiders hater. But I can't deny how good Josh Jacobs is and how good that offense could potentially be with the addition of Devontae Adams. So right now, Josh Jacobs is $8. That's criminal. That's absolutely criminal. My wife went ahead and bought 3 of them recently just because it's so criminal. And the chances are he's going to factor into a challenge at some point. And when he does, don't be surprised to see him like triple or quadruple in value. And it's going to be nice to have a few in your collection. So I like Josh Jacobs. Then I've got Miles Sanders. Like I said, Miles Sanders was $8. He's now $10. I have 5 Miles Sanders in my collection in anticipation of that early start and how easy it is. That juicy schedule he's got to begin the season. like, it's juicy. Chances are he's going to be involved in something. I will probably start him at some point on my OTM Rumble roster against certain defenses. So I had to have Miles Sanders. Not to mention, again, Miles Sanders is the back for Philadelphia, right? He's the man. Of course, every single team is going to have a deep running back room because of the injuries associated with position and how much grinding is required with that position. But when it comes right down to it, Miles Sanders is the man in Philadelphia. You got to have a couple in your collection. Miles Sanders is an obvious one for me, especially even at $10. It's just a joke. That's a joke price. Then we've got Antonio Gibson, and Antonio Gibson gets a lot of hate. Okay, Antonio Gibson is unfairly treated for the most part when it comes to his position in Washington. He's been a fantastic running back. It's just Washington, now the Commanders, have sucked, right? So running backs don't get as many opportunities. But Gibson has a chance to shine. He really does. And I expect to see Washington compete in some contests, especially grind out type games, because they do have a very good defense. They really do. And to complement a good defense, you need a good running game. And that's Antonio Gibson. Sure, again, they've got a deep running back room. They've added some pieces. And maybe he doesn't get all of the carries, but there's going to be a point where he does show up and he does get the lion's share of the carries and, more importantly, find the end zone a few times. So like Antonio Gibson, I'm not saying go out and have a bunch of him, but he's at $12, and at $12 he should really be in your collection considering it's the only moment he has minted on the NFL All Day platform. All right? The next one's a big step up, but it's an important step up, and that's DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift is awesome. Okay? DeAndre Swift is a complete back. He's a great pass-catching back. You can put him out wide, no problem. He can run great routes. He's great with the ball, very shifty running back. So I like DeAndre Swift. Unfortunately, he's on the Lions, but the Lions are slowly improving. Okay, they're slowly getting better. And you got to remember, because they're not a great offense, because they don't have those like marquee targets at wide receiver, DeAndre Swift gets a lot of targets. A lot. He essentially is like their number 2 wide receiver. So I really like DeAndre Swift. He's coming off a bit of an injury, but it's not one that's going to hold him out that long, right? He should be 100% to start the season when it comes right down to it. So DeAndre Swift, he's currently at $22. He's one worth having multiples of if your wallet can support it, because I expect him to really show out this particular year, and I expect Detroit to be better this particular year. So DeAndre Swift, get him in your collection. Then Derrick Henry, and it's obvious, right? Derrick Henry is an obvious one. He's $26. I don't know why. He's still too low. Way too low for what is the number 1 sort of true running back, workhorse running back in the league. He really is the number 1 running back in the league. Jonathan Taylor, outperformed him last season, but that's because Derrick Henry missed a few games. That's why. That's why it happened. And that's the only reason. He's going to get so much work. So much. So much so that they were willing to trade and let go A.J. Brown, right? Their number 1 receiver. They're like, we don't need him. We got Derrick Henry. He's going to carry us anyways. So he's going to factor into like rushing challenges, scrimmage yard challenges, maybe touchdown challenges. 100% he's going to factor in. How he's at $26, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's just because it's a common. People are like, that's a common. I don't want to spend too much on it. But Derrick Henry, and it's the only moment minted on the platform. You got to have it. It's a must-have. It is. If you play OTM Rumble, if fantasy is going to be part of what you're doing here, if you're expecting to win at some sort of a running back challenge, then you need to have him in your collection before his value skyrockets as a result of one of these things. So go out, get a Derrick Henry. And then my last one is Christian McCaffrey. And like I said, he's the best. He's the absolute best. His moment has started at around $45 as the floor. That's still too low. Christian McCaffrey is an absolute beast, and he's got to be in your collection. Till next time.